we are talking about LinkedIn. And as you all know, I'm constantly talking about specialties, specializing, and Jen is a specialist when it comes to LinkedIn. So if you're using LinkedIn in your business or you want to use LinkedIn in your business, settle in, stay tuned to this, and really hone in. Those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Renee Hughes, and I'm the founder of the Aroma Specialist. And what I do is I help those who are aromatherapists to advance their businesses using captivating speaking. And what Jen does is she works with all industries, but her real secret sauce is that she's amazing at working with people who are empaths and introverts and sensitive souls, to really make it in this space that a lot of us feel like we can't make. So if you've followed me at all, you know that I'm a real introvert. And yet being able to use LinkedIn, and Jen has already helped us quite a bit with LinkedIn, and she's going to be helping us even more, my team and I. So I really want you to lean in and listen to these jewels that she has to give us. But before we jump into LinkedIn and your system, a little bit about your system and what you have to share with us, Jen, can you tell us a little bit about how you started and what gave you the confidence to start your business? It's one of the things I like to talk to the audience about.
Yeah, thanks so much first for having me on, Renee. It's great to be on. And we were just saying before we went live, I love aromatherapy because I'm very much like an introvert, sensitive person and an empath. So I got big into aromatherapy, I would say, during the pandemic, having my diffuser on the go. I love aromatherapy massages. So I'm really excited to be coming on and speaking to your audience because I know you're my people. What first got me excited about LinkedIn and into it was being an introvert. And I first heard about social media and LinkedIn and Twitter about 12 years ago. And initially I ignored it thinking, do I have to be on there? Do I have to put myself out there? So I kind of buried my head in the sand, I would say, for a year or two. And then I went to a talk. I was part of a network and they had somebody talking about the benefits of LinkedIn for your career. So I went to that and I was sold. I came away thinking, wow, okay, in my job, I know I can create so many opportunities for myself on LinkedIn. And the great thing is, as an introvert, I don't need to leave the house. I don't even need to get dressed. I can position myself.
We love that.
Exactly. So it's like I can position myself the way I want, create that kind of great first impression with my profile, create the content I want and connect with the people I want. So I got super excited and I used it then for many years in my career. It just really helped me to do my job better, to create opportunities, to get rises, to get bonuses. So initially I was connecting with a lot of my peers, so I wouldn't have to like reinvent the wheel. I could do my job better, and I connected with a lot of suppliers. And yeah, I just fell in love with it. And then I reached a point in my career about 6-7 years ago where I actually had back surgery and I was forced to take some time away from my job. And I realized that I was no longer in love with my job, but I had fallen in love with like LinkedIn, and I was initially terrified of it, you know, but then when I started using it, I became a real nerd. I studied a diploma in like LinkedIn for business, social media for business. So by the time my back went, I was a full-on social media nerd and online nerd. And I'd done about, I don't know, 10 qualifications, and I was using LinkedIn in a voluntary role. And I realized while I was literally lying flat on the back after my back operation, that actually helping people to get their voice in the room on LinkedIn was like my purpose. And if I could help other people feel empowered the way I had, then that's what I wanted to do. So yeah, I got better. I quit my job, set up my business, My Super Connector, and now I help women basically like me, the way I was a few years ago. So introverts, empaths, sensitive people who are a bit like, oh, LinkedIn, do I have to be on there? So I help them to leverage it in their own way, according to their personality and their energy. Because you'll know yourself, like an introvert is very different energetically to an extrovert. So I'm all about using it in a way that feels good for you and doesn't drain you.
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, sometimes there's a misconception about being an introvert. And I think that when you are a successful business owner and you're an introvert, people are like, oh, I didn't know that you could be both. And I love being able to highlight the fact that like we like being introverted. We love who we are and it's just how we get energy. You know, it's just
Exactly.
different from extroverts. But people think, oh, I thought that introverts are people who just stay inside and they're completely quiet and they don't ever.
Yeah.
No, we are quiet, but gosh, we have so much to say too. So
Exactly. Yeah, I love that.
it's finding that balance and finding the space to be able to do it, because we can do it in the right platform. It's just that in a crowd of people with 10 people talking, you know, we're gonna lay back and observe, you know. So
Yeah.
I love that you found your space and you felt confident that, you know what, and what I love is that you had the confidence to leave a career, to
Yeah.
leave what you were doing, to dive into this, and then you gave it everything and you really learned LinkedIn. So I feel like everybody who's watching, like, really listen to that. She made this shift. She found the confidence, and even dealing with, like, she's laying flat on her back. It could have been really
Yeah.
easy for her to be like, you know, I can't start a business right now. I can't learn this
Yeah.
stuff right now. You know, this is not the right time, but why not? So being in action like that is something that makes such a big difference in your business. And I think that's something for all of us to remember,
Yeah.
her courage and her willingness to dive into action and lean into the thing that she's really good at and she really loves. So
Yeah.
now,
Thank you.
yes, it's very exciting. I love that. So now I want you to tell us a little bit about, so Jen is known as a super connector. And so I want you to tell us what that means. And then I want you to tell us a little bit about your pack system.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a bit of a connector, and it's from childhood. I just love introducing people, and it's the way my mind works as a HSP. It's constantly wearing. So when I meet different people throughout the conversation, I'm like, you need to talk to such and such, or you could have such and such. You'd be a great guest on their show, or vice versa. It's just the way my brain works. So I'm
Yeah.
constantly giving these introductions in the DMs in LinkedIn. And yeah, it's just something I do. It's just part of, I thought everybody did it. And then when I was like in business, I was like, no, they don't. They don't all do what
No,
I
they
do.
don't.
Exactly. So it's just kind of like happens in my brain. And I guess I just have to give that introduction to kind of move
Yeah.
on. And yeah, I've always loved doing it. And I think especially I can see working with people that do, you know, introductions, that kind of stuff, and the DMs doesn't come natural to everyone. So sometimes I give my clients a bit of a gentle kick of the bum and do the intros for them if I know they need help with XYZ and they're procrastinating. For example, I've got a lovely photography client, and we decided the best thing for her would be, you know, once every quarter to do like a mini headshot day. And I was like, oh, there's so many lovely venues. You should connect to XXX. And I knew she was starting to overthink and procrastinate. So I literally introduced all the venues and said, here you go. So basically kick up the bum, chat to this lovely hotel. And now she's got one organized. So sometimes it's for people's best interest that I do it. And then you mentioned my packed process. I think as introverts and sensitive people, we have that tendency to overthink and procrastinate. So my packed process is all really about authority marketing on LinkedIn. So first of all, like building that online presence, the P, so your profile and your page, and just making that do the talking for you. And then the A is all about getting strategic, taking action, you know, the right type of action. So building your network with the right type of people and being active, because so many people say to me, oh, who should I connect with? Should I accept or ignore? And I'm like, that's the wrong question. Who do you want to connect with? This is your network. So stop being passive and letting other people shape your network. Like, I can think of nothing worse than a network that has just come to me and I haven't chosen any of them. Like, how spammy and horrible would that be? So I'm like, let's connect with the right people. And then the C is literally connect, content, you know, have conversations, communicate, because it is a social network and you need to do all of them in order to get to the T, which is tribe. You need to have it all.
Can I stop you before you go there? Because you just said something so important. The A portion, I really want everybody to kind of listen to what she said there. This is something I've been working with my clients on. So we do this together. And I want you all to really listen. And those of you who are not doing it, please contact Jen for this. it changes everything when you are intentional about
Yeah.
your network audience. You know, people hate the reaching out portion of building business, but it's because of who's in your network. And
Yeah.
sometimes they're like, oh, I get these DMs and I hate the conversations over there and I'm not enjoying that. And I'm scrolling through my social media, but I'm not enjoying it. It's because you don't have the right people there.
Yeah.
And it's okay to go in and clean up, you know, taking people out that are not, you're not going to be serving them, they're not serving you, you're not enjoying the content. And look for people that you actually want in your, it changes everything. Thank you so much for saying that. And
Yeah,
she
exactly.
how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to do a bit of a, because it's New Year, so it's a good time to do a bit of a
Let's
Marie
clean out
Kondo.
and start over. Yes. Let's
Exactly.
have a real network.
See what sparks joy, because like you said, I speak to so many people and they're connected to a lot of people from their past career. A
Right.
career usually they hate it or they
Right.
burn them out, and then they're like, I don't
And
like
they're still talking to all those people in the
exactly.
wrong network.
Exactly. And they're seeing the wrong content. So I'm not saying that you have to delete off everyone, but if there are, like Rennie said, if there are people in your audience that don't spark joy, or you don't think there's no potential at all for synergy or collaboration, then disconnect. They won't miss you and you won't miss them. They won't get any notification to say you've disconnected anyway. So I know at the start I was like a lot more probably considerate and kind. I was like, oh, I don't want to delete. And now I'm like, no. It's your network, it's your network, it's your energy. So you're in control of who you connect to with. And likewise, you know, there will be people from your past that are good people and you never know where it will lead. So I'm not saying you have to delete everyone, but do unfollow their content. So I'm connected to about 12,500 people currently, and I follow 10% or less. Because I'm not interested in all their content. I only follow the content for me, for business owners, female business owners. I don't want to follow people in corporate or from my past. It's just not interesting to me. It doesn't spark any joy. It's boring.
But why do it?
Yeah, exactly. So I just think people need to take control of their network and then
take the reins of your business.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. Try. Go to the next one.
It's just literally putting it all together, having a tracker of ideal clients that you're nurturing so that you're not focused on like quantity. I think a lot of people think that they just try to please everyone on LinkedIn and they're doing, you know, multiple cold searches, and you have got leads within your network that are warm or hot. So it's all about just having that list of people, ideal clients, and nurturing them. It's not about trying to convert every person on LinkedIn into your ideal client, because they're not. So it's just
not.
It's just about showing up consistently, and ideally I get my clients to show up about at least a half an hour a day, 3 times a week, and nurture the right people. And if they do that, they will get leads. And it's just about doing that consistently, and that's how you thrive. Because even if you take your kind of foot off the pedal for a week or two, and if you're not constantly nurturing, you will get less leads.
Every time I just had this conversation. So if you're watching replay, like rewind that and listen to that again, what she just said about that 30 minutes. I promise you it's so true. You've got to do that so consistently. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, I think there's so much focus on the moment. There's a lot of hype about LinkedIn and the home feed, and that's what it's all about, and content. And it's only part of the picture. So it's really like profile page content, but then it's about conversation in the DMs. You have to go into the DMs. You can't just rely on your content alone, because that is such a long game, and that can take years. Like even the best copywriters will, you know, they will have taken 12 months, 18 months before they got traction, and they're amazing copywriters. So if you're,
and that's just how it is. It's a long game. It's a long game, but it's worth it. It's just like get started. I think people are looking for the quick fix. How do I quickly get new clients? And the thing is, it's about nurturing. If you're gonna get, especially those of us who are in high ticket, people are not gonna pay you $5, $10, $15, $20,000 over a quick conversation. So we have to be realistic and
Yeah.
understand that it's a nurturing relationship. That leads me to my last question. I think it's my last question. I could talk to you forever. But this question, I want people to hear this from a LinkedIn expert.
Yeah.
What is your feeling and how do you explain about automation? There's so much automation on LinkedIn. Can you please speak to that?
I think in terms of like scheduling posts, it's great, like in terms of scheduling to your company page or even your profiles and posts, brilliant. But in terms of DM automation, no, it's a big no for me. And there's a few
Me too.
reasons. One is it's against, I'm going to sound like a real anal person about the rules, but it's like it is actually against the terms and conditions of LinkedIn to allow anyone else access to your inbox. So
can I just stop you there? Because I want to emphasize the certain things that she says. So I'm going to keep stopping her. Listen to what she just said. We're trying to get LinkedIn to work with us. If out of the gate, you're using tools that are against their regulations, immediately the algorithm is not going to work for you. It's not going to work because you're already working against it. It's not how the platform works. So if you're doing that, that's out of the gate wrong. But go to your next point.
Yeah, and I think LinkedIn are even getting more strict than they used to be. Like in terms of even outreach or messaging, I think even if you send more than like 20 messages a day, it can start flagging you up as spam. So like I said, it's all about being strategic and thinking, who do I really want to talk to? And like you said, start being intentional rather than this mass like spray and pray. I'm going to message everyone about XYZ. Like the automation, it will flag up with LinkedIn, maybe not straight away, but at some point you will get a message saying, that they're shutting down a lot of accounts temporarily, and you'll get to a point that it will just be a permanent shutdown and you'll lose your whole LinkedIn. So it's just, I think it's risky. Obviously, as LinkedIn, I'm not willing to take the risk, but I've been chatting to even my VA, I did a task with her this week. She's been messaging people as her, not as me. I'm not getting her to win as me. And she's been inviting them to a challenge I'm running. And she has actually gone into LinkedIn jail twice over the last 3 weeks. And with because and we figured that if she sends any more than 20 a day, it's flagging her up as spam. So they're getting really strict, LinkedIn. So I would definitely say don't do any automation, and even yourself without automation, ask yourself, like, do you really need to message those 20 people? Like, could you not choose 5 people each day and have like 5 intentional conversations? That will be more powerful than just like mass spray and pray.
I love that. And that's a good tip for us too, because we've gotten to that too, where my VA will go in and she'll use my account, but she'll say, hey, this is so-and-so, like she'll say her name, but some people don't even like that. They're like, hey, this says Renee, but you said your name is Chelsea, or you said your name is Shar. Why are you, and we're like, but we're doing that so that people can know who they're talking to. The other thing is we have sent too many as well. We've sent too many and LinkedIn will shut us down. So these are such good tips, and we just need to, it's time consuming. And I think that's where people are like, to do it the way that you and Jen are talking about is going to take forever, but it's not. Notice what Jen said, spend about 30 minutes a day on it, or even a few times a week. And get your VAs involved. Exactly. You don't have to do all the steps. It really shouldn't be.
I think all the work kind of goes, the main work goes in at the start, like building your profile. And once that's up and running, that's working for you 24/7. And the same with your page. If that looks good, that's another like free URL that you can be found on. And then your content, once you've got your content plan put together and you can have that scheduled with, third-party software, and LinkedIn starting to bring in its own scheduling tool as well. It's not there yet. So I would still kind of advocate a third party. I use one called Agora Pulse, and that's great. And that way your content just goes out. You don't have to waste your time on content, because I think a lot of people sit down and they're like, oh, I was on LinkedIn for half an hour, I did my post. And I'm like, well, what else did you do? Did you engage with anyone? It's like, that's not enough. So you really
Right.
want like your profile and page to look the part and your content to just go out on a loop. And then that half hour is just for having quality conversations with the right people.
Mhm.
So you really need to dig deep, you know, like we were saying, be strategic. Think, who do you want to chat to? It could be previous clients. It could be people you've had on sales calls who've said no to you. It could be people that you've
Mhm.
met networking, or maybe you've hosted an event or a webinar, or a live like this, and you want to nurture them. So it's about chatting with the right people and building relationships. And you know,
Yeah.
sometimes you are lucky, sometimes you're in that position when you chat to somebody and they're like, do you know what, I want to grow my aromatherapy business, and they're like, yeah, I have to chat to Rennie, you know, or I want to get leads on LinkedIn, I want to chat to you. They've already got to that education state.
Mm.
But you know, just knowing that not everyone's going to be there straight away, and building
Yeah.
a relationship as a human being in the DMs, you know, and
Yes.
some people it will take longer, and that's fine. You know,
And
you
that's
kind of,
fine.
you
Yeah.
focus on the ones who need your help the quickest.
Yeah.
So don't take
Mhm.
it personally if people don't respond to you straight away. Not everybody is active on LinkedIn every day. Or
Mhm.
don't
That's
feel
right.
bad to follow up. That's one thing I've definitely learned on LinkedIn, is
Mhm.
just don't take it personally and follow up, because
Yeah.
you never know. There's something could be going on in their life. There could be, you know, a
Absolutely.
death in the family. There could be a tragedy. And then when you follow up, they're like, oh, thank God, I was going to reach out to you. I need to chat to you, but this happened.
Mhm.
So don't feel like, if you have a good intention and you know you're coming from a place of giving and you want to help them, don't feel bad following up, because it's all in the follow up. That's where the magic happens.
So
And
true.
isn't it? It is. And I know in
Mhm.
the past, I used to, even as a business, or even as a LinkedIn trainer, I'd send 2 or 3 messages and I'd be like, well,
It's like,
maybe
I
I'll
don't
leave
want to bother
them.
them.
But it can happen in the fourth message, fifth message, sixth message. So just realize it's a long game.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean it's going to take you years if you're connected to the right people.
That's
Like, for
right.
example, if people have come to your talks, or you know, you've networked
Yes.
with them, you've already
Mhm.
fast tracked it, you know, so
That's
you're
right.
already halfway there.
Right. And you know that they need what you have. And that goes back to what Jen said, being intentional about growing your network, reaching out to people who are in the community that you serve and who need what it is that you have. It's also going to help you with your follow-ups, because you're not going to feel bad. You know, they need it.
Yeah,
And we, the person who's providing it, it's our job to kind of put it to them in a palatable way, because they're not going to just be like, oh, they may not go grab for it. You know, it sometimes has to be served to them and be like, you know, yeah, she does this. She's, you know, let me do this thing. And sometimes it just takes a while for them to say, yeah, this is my person and I need to try that. So Jen, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I want all of you as aromatherapist and holistic practitioners to give Jen a call, like get in her DM, make sure you connect with her on LinkedIn. She's got a link that she's going to be sharing with you. So in this, if you're seeing this in email, it'll be in your email. If you're seeing it on our social media, you're going to see the link there. So make sure you click that link, because it's going to get you in contact with Jen. And I only have people on here that I trust and that I either have worked with or will work with, because I know that what they're teaching is valuable before I ever put them in front of you. So feel very comfortable to reach out to her. LinkedIn is an amazing tool. And
yeah.
as a person in this space, you need to be using it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd love to connect with you all. I want all you
Yeah.
aromatherapy people in my network. I want to have a nicer feed. I want to have different conversations. I just encourage you all, use the search bar as well. Put in the hashtag aromatherapy, and you will find other people like mine's content, groups, you know. And I think you might think initially, oh, LinkedIn's not for me. I'm not sure if people are on it, but it's a great opportunity for you to stand out on this platform, because other platforms like Instagram might be saturated with your people. But I
Right.
know amazing creatives on LinkedIn, yoga teachers, Pilates teachers, makeup artists, people that you wouldn't have considered, but they're really
Mhm.
standing out on LinkedIn because there are less of those people. So then they're the number one choice. So I
Yeah.
would say lean into it. This is a great opportunity for you to stand out. And like I said
Mhm.
at the start, so many people have got into like aromatherapy over the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I think you can meet lots of people on here, not necessarily all clients, they could be collaboration partners.
Collaborators.
It's about thinking bigger than the immediate client. It could be you connect with an event manager who's hosting an event about aromatherapy or a summit, and you get exposure to 10,000 clients instead of one. So it's about thinking bigger. And yeah, it's a great platform. So definitely don't be shy and reach out.
Yes. Thank you, Jen, so much. We'll have you on the show again. We thank you, and send your questions over to her, and I'll see you all on the next episode.
Thank
Bye.
you.